Hello, friends! And if you've ever wondered what it would be like to live out your own personal Cinderella story in which an unloved orphan transforms into a beautiful young lady with a rich benefactor, then this is the book for you. In today's episode, we're going to talk about one of my favorite books of all time, Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. Let's get started. Pip is an ordinary boy who lives with his sister and her husband, the blacksmith, Joe Gargery, in the marshes of Kent, England. One evening, Pip and Joe go to visit their friend, the eccentric old Mrs. Hubble, when they stumble upon a strange man who has hurt his leg. Joe and Pip take him home to nurse him back to health, and in exchange for their kindness, the man reveals himself to be Miss Havisham's lawyer and offers to make Pip his heir. Pip is overjoyed at this unexpected turn of fortune and immediately begins to feel superior to his humble origins. He becomes ashamed of his appearance, his manners, and even his name, which he feels is too common. Pip decides that he must be transformed into a gentleman before he can claim his inheritance, and so he leaves the marshes to live with his sister and brother-in-law while he awaits his fortune to mature. Meanwhile, the escaped convict turns out to have died from complications related to his injuries, and the lawyer reveals to Joe that Pip's inheritance was really just a reward for taking in the runaway. But before Joe can break the news to Pip, the young man receives a letter summoning him to London to begin his transformation into a gentleman. The lawyer introduces Pip to his new guardian, Miss Havisham, a wealthy recluse who lives in a decaying mansion with her daughter, Estella. From the moment Pip meets Estella, he falls head over heels in love with her, and Miss Havisham encourages his affection, hoping that he will break her daughter's cold heart. Pip undergoes a series of humiliating tests designed to make him forget his humble origins and embrace his new life as a gentleman. He is forced to wear ridiculous clothes, to eat with a knife and fork, and to endure the mockery of Miss Havisham and her guests. But despite all the indignities he suffers, Pip remains devoted to his dream of winning Estella's love. One day, Pip discovers that his mysterious benefactor is actually the escaped convict who he nursed back to health. The convict had been sentenced to death for stealing food and had escaped to avoid execution. He had changed his name to Magwitch and had made a fortune in Australia. When he returned to England, he learned of Pippa's existence and decided to make the young boy his heir in gratitude for his kindness. With this revelation, Pip's world is turned upside down. He is filled with shame and disgust for his benefactor and for himself. How could he have been so ungrateful? How could he have lied to Joe? And how could he possibly continue to pursue Estella when she is nothing more than a cold-hearted snob? Determined to break free from the expectations that have been placed upon him, Pip throws himself into his pursuit of Estella. He woos her with expensive gifts and grand gestures, all the while ignoring the pleas of his former friend, Biddy, who believes that he is making a terrible mistake. But despite all his efforts, Estella remains aloof and unfeeling. Finally, on the day of his final examination before the English bar, Pip learns the truth about Miss Havisham. She had been jilted at the altar on her wedding day and had spent the rest of her life in revenge, seeking to punish men for their perfidy. With this knowledge, Pip realizes that his whole experience has been nothing but a cruel joke. His hopes for a better life have been dashed, and he is left feeling more lost than ever. As Pip's fortunes turn for the worse, he is visited by the ghost of his old friend, the convict man. The ghost tells Pip that he is dying and asks for forgiveness. Pip, who has come to realize the goodness of the man who raised him and the purity of the girl he loves, asks for forgiveness, and the two are reconciled. As Magwitch dies, Pip is left alone to face his future. But he is no longer the same naive boy who left the marshes. He has grown and changed, and is ready to take on the world with a newfound sense of purpose. The novel ends with Pip returning to the marshes, where he is reunited with Joe and Biddy. Pip and Joe's relationship is an important theme in Great Expectations. Pip begins the story resenting his brother-in-law and his simple life in the marshes. But as Pip becomes more sophisticated and worldly, he comes to appreciate Joe's strength, kindness, and integrity. Joe, in turn, never gives up on Pip, even when the young man rejects him. Their relationship is a powerful reminder of the importance of family and loyalty. Another important theme in Great Expectations is the corrupting power of wealth and ambition. When Pip is first offered the chance to become a gentleman, he is overjoyed. He thinks that wealth and status will bring him happiness and fulfillment. But as he quickly learns, money and power can also corrupt and destroy. Pip becomes obsessed with climbing the social ladder, and in doing so, he loses sight of his true values and the people who love him. Love and relationships are also a major focus in Great Expectations. Pip's love for Estella is obsessive and all-consuming. He believes that she is the only person in the world for him, and that he must win her love at all costs. But as Pip matures, he comes to understand that Estella is not the right person for him. In fact, she is cold, heartless, and manipulative. Through Pip's relationship with Estella, Dickens explores the complexities of love and the dangers of obsession. Great Expectations is a classic coming-of-age story. Pip starts off as a naive and innocent boy, but through his experiences, he grows and matures. He learns about the world and about himself, and he ultimately emerges as a stronger and wiser young man. Dickens uses Pip's journey to explore themes of identity, ambition, and social class. The novel is set in Victorian England, a time of great social change and upheaval. Dickens was a social reformer, and he uses Great Expectations to critique the injustices of his day. He was particularly concerned with the plight of the poor and the working class, and he often used his novels to raise awareness of their struggles. There are many memorable characters in Great Expectations, in addition to those already mentioned. There's Mr. Wemmick, a kind-hearted man who introduces Pip to the ways of the city. There's Orlick, a violent and jealous blacksmith, who becomes a terrifying threat to Pip. And there's Jaggers, a ruthless lawyer, who represents the darker side of London life. If you've never read Great Expectations, I highly recommend it. It's a classic for a reason. It's a beautifully written and deeply moving story that has something to offer everyone. The writing is both funny and heartbreaking, and the characters are some of the most unforgettable in literature. If you are looking for a book to read that will stay with you long after you finish it, then this is the one for you. What did you think of Great Expectations? Did you love it or hate it? Which character was your favorite? And what do you think is the main message of the story? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below. Thank you for watching this episode. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Catch you later.